Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining our presentation today. We'll be reviewing the Zeroed In on Retail's Microsoft Dynamics multi-channel retail solution. My name is Amy Servian. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Zeroed In, and I'll be the one doing the presentation this morning. During this presentation, I'd like to take a few moments to run through a few slides that have been prepared to highlight the solutions that we'll be presenting today. After that, we will be going through a product demonstration and open the presentation up for questions. The first thing on the list is to run through a quick agenda. We want to go through a few things that set the table, so to speak, for what our customers and partners are facing on a day-to-day basis with respect to multi-location and multi-channel retailers. We will then run through the solutions that comprise the Zeroed In on Retail hassle-free solutions. We'll then go through a quick review of our architecture that provides an overview of the two solutions that we will be blending together and the actual integration element that makes all of this work. We'll then run through a quick product demonstration and open the presentation up for questions. So the first thing we'll run through this morning is, again, how our customers and partners are handling some of the issues that face multi-store and multi-channel retailers. The first thing on the list is the concept of dealing with disconnected islands of data. Most retailers today are dealing with multiple solutions of which are disconnected in their environment. Things like back office, websites, point of sale, inventory, warehouse management systems. These are all applications that are required to run a multi-store and multi-channel retail environment. However, most retailers are unable and unsuccessful in getting all of these systems to talk. As a result, they end up implementing some manual processes, and when companies implement manual processes, they become what we call a high-spend company. Every time an employee touches a piece of paper, that's a cost to the company. And in retail, again, when you've got disconnected islands of data, when point of sale is not talking to accounting, when the website's not integrated to the back office for fulfillment and supply chain, what ends up happening is, again, manual processes, pieces of paper, Excel spreadsheets are implemented to augment the disconnection. And again, this costs companies lots of money, and again, retailers end up becoming high-spend companies. Again, as a result of the high-spend companies and the disconnected islands of data, the companies, the retail outlets end up becoming very inefficient. This is an obvious point, but worth stating. Again, as a result of a lack of efficiency, the fact that they spend a lot of money implementing manual processes because of their disconnected islands of data, they compromise opportunities. So, for example, at the point of sale, when a cashier is ringing up a transaction and they go to look at the inventory availability for that particular item that the customer wants and they don't have accurate information, there's an opportunity that is lost. What ends up happening is that you can't upsell, you can't provide tag-along items, you compromise customer loyalty, all things that are critical to increasing selling opportunities and, again, creating customer loyalty. And last but certainly not least is the fact that retailers oftentimes take on projects related to technology and act as the general contractor. What I mean by that is when retailers as a whole tend to devalue the benefit of IT, they want to manage this process themselves. And what happens is they don't have enough resources, they don't have the right resources, and oftentimes this becomes a distraction to the day-to-day business. It becomes a very time-consuming task, but it's a mindset that really is prevalent amongst multi-store and multi-channel retailers to take on this sort of a task of acting as the general contractor of IT. So what we've done is we've selected two applications from Microsoft which we find to be cost-effective, easy to deploy, easy to manage, and requires very little management of databases and resources to provide a fully end-to-end integrated multi-channel, multi-store solution. The first solution that we will talk about this morning is the point-of-sale application for Microsoft called Microsoft Retail Management System. This solution has thousands of customers worldwide. This is a product, as I mentioned, that's easy to deploy, easy to train, very cost effective. There are great solutions for integration of credit card processing. One that we work with on a fairly regular basis, which is from Mercury Payment Systems. The reason we like to highlight the Mercury Payment credit card processing solution is because it's a no software and no cost solution. The only fees that are paid are obviously the processing fees. However, to get into the program, to deploy the solution, it is a no cost, no software approach. Microsoft Retail Management System has simple infrastructure requirements, meaning in a multi-store and multi-channel environment, you do not need to deploy a server. We can run the application local, and I'll highlight how that happens and funnels that information down to a back office solution. And again, lots of partners worldwide providing many, many add-ons to augment out-of-the-box functionality. The next solution that we'll highlight, which for us happens to be the core of our solution, is Microsoft Dynamics NAV. Microsoft Dynamics NAV has been around for 25 plus years. Microsoft acquired this product at the same time they acquired many other business solution applications in 2002, and since then has continued to support, enhance, and improve the application. In our environment here, we consider Microsoft Dynamics NAV as the hub. We offer this solution in both an on-premise or in the cloud environment. As you can see, there are over 1.5 million users worldwide using this application. It is the single best-selling Microsoft Dynamics business application quarter after quarter for at least the last 4 years. It has a reliable single integrated database. It is fully scalable, meaning companies that have 1 to 1,000 locations can run the Microsoft Dynamics NAV solution. It has a robust feature set, which includes many of the features here that are listed. These are solutions or features of the application that we like to highlight. So from the Microsoft Dynamics NAV application, you can get a fully unique store management view, 360-degree view of all of your stores. You can deploy one of the Microsoft Dynamics NAV clients, which is a role-based application that allows for role-based workflow, meaning if you have particular tasks that within your company that you want people to execute based on a certain workflow, you can set the Microsoft Dynamics NAV application up to facilitate that. We do offer a retail portal, which comes through a product of ours called Touchpoints. Microsoft Dynamics NAV is a fully integrated stack application, meaning you have access to Microsoft Word, Excel, SharePoint, all from within the application. Because it's a worldwide product and it actually started as a European financials application, it has fully integrated multilingual, multi-currency, and it also has the ability to handle multi-company. What I mean by that is if you have different retail companies running as separate legal entities, you can facilitate those separate legal entities from within one database, from within one instance of Microsoft Dynamics NAV. There's fully integrated accounting and financial management, so every time a transaction comes in from one of your selling channels, it will automatically be routed to the financial side of Microsoft Dynamics NAV for real-time views of your financial health of the business. It is a cost-effective, fairly simple-to-use solution, and it allows you overall to have the right product in the right place at the right time. I want to touch on the solution we mentioned that kind of facilitates the retail portal and offers so much more to our retail customer base and our retail partners out there. It's a product called Touchpoints. It is actually what creates the multi-channel aspect of our solution. This is a cloud-based application that connects the dots across all of the selling channels, and the dots have to do with your customers. If your customers are buying from your store and your website, you want to know when they're buying, what they're buying, and how to sell them more, and ultimately recognize and reward them for their loyalty. If your customers are buying from you at kiosks and through the phone, maybe you have a catalog and people call in and they're buying from a call center, you want to know what they're buying, what catalog they're buying from, how we can sell them more. Our Touchpoints application has a fully integrated web cart. Again, you have the ability to take web and phone order fulfillment, or facilitate web and phone order fulfillment right from within the Microsoft Dynamics NAV application. You can also facilitate customer loyalty from Microsoft Dynamics NAV. What I mean by that is from a sales order within Dynamics NAV, you can hit a button called Calc Loyalty. Right from that sales order, it'll create a call out to our Touchpoints cloud application, bring in the loyalty information on that particular customer, and bring it right into the sales order and allow you to honor the loyalty discounts or redeem the loyalty dollars or points on that particular order from within Dynamics NAV. We have full email marketing capability. We have the ability to create memberships and clubs for recurring revenue. We also have the ability to integrate with Microsoft Tag, which again gives customers as well as retail companies the ability to capture customer information without that human interaction, which as it becomes more and more popular, this will be another way to capture customer information and recognize and reward them through customer loyalty. And we also have the ability to facilitate e-receipts, so no paper. When customers come in and you sell them products, you can send them an electronic receipt, again, which is another ability to add coupons to that receipt or other ways to incentivize them to continue to buy from your company. We also have the ability to offer dashboard-driven retail reporting, and we'll touch on that here in a little bit. So here's the point where we'll talk briefly about the hassle-free integration of ours that we've developed. Zeroed In is the author of a product called Maestro. Maestro's been around for many, many years. It's on its 4th version of the product. We're very proud of the solution. We know it's rock solid, and we've redesigned it in the last 18 months to work on the latest Microsoft web service technology. So what I want to highlight here is if you look in the bottom right corner, you'll see the Microsoft Dynamics NAV box, which shows 3 different companies with 3 different financial areas and different warehouses that relate to each of those companies. This is a way for us to highlight our ability to handle multi-company rollouts. So again, Microsoft Dynamics NAV is the hub. It is the hub for item information, for vendors, for your accounting, for your warehousing, for your sales tax setup, for your pricing, and for your customers. Ultimately, all of our customer information will route back to Dynamics NAV. Once that information is ready in the Dynamics NAV application, we will then facilitate the push of information out to the stores. And you can see as it routes through the Maestro solution here and out to the stores, we can again facilitate multi-location retail rollouts. So again, you can have multi-company on the back end within Microsoft Dynamics NAV. You can have multiple stores on the front end with Microsoft Retail Management System. And then again, out here in the cloud, we have our multi-channel solution called Touchpoints, which again facilitates things such as customer loyalty, e-commerce, web order tracking, clubs, email marketing, and so much more. We like to talk about where our solution fits. We've got many partners on the call this morning that might have opportunities for us to work together with retailers that have different profiles, and we want to make sure that you understand where the solution fits. So obviously it's a solution that fits well for companies who have multi-store and multi-channel businesses. Again, if a customer has a retail store on a website, great candidate for our solution. If they're a company who takes phone orders and maybe facilitates most of their selling over the web, that's a great candidate for our solution. Multiple locations obviously mean more than one, so anybody who has more than two or more retail outlets would be a great fit for us. When a retailer can support accounting operations. So let me talk about that briefly. When retailers most often, when they're coming from smaller accounting applications, tend to gather a bunch of papers on a weekly basis or bi-monthly basis and bring them over to an accountant for reconciliation. The Microsoft Dynamics NAV solution, it would be fantastic if every retailer had somebody on staff who knew a little bit about accounting. And why we say that is because the CPA world, the accounting world, the CMAs, all of the different types of accounting professionals in the world are heavily using other applications outside of Microsoft Dynamics NAV. And why is that? Because most of those applications fit for small companies. Well, as we start to expand our solution set and we get into multi-store and multi-channel businesses, the requirements for accounting become bigger. And we would hope that a company would have some experienced accounting personnel on staff to help manage and maintain the Microsoft Dynamics NAV application. When a company has an accounting solution that has exceeded its capabilities, is a graduation from QuickBooks to NAV, is it possible? Absolutely. And again, most of the time when QuickBooks is being replaced, it's because it's just completely, the requirements of that company have exceeded the capabilities of what QuickBooks has to offer. There are other solutions out there that we've replaced. We've replaced Great Plains, we've replaced Mass 90, we've replaced Macola, we've even replaced SAP on the lower end. And again, this is because the capabilities of that solution, whether it be integration or features and functions within the application, are exceeded, and retailers need more flexibility. And when a retailer needs centralized integrated processes, so again, we're looking at NAV as the hub of information. That's the central place where purchasing will happen. That is where the supply chain and fulfillment will happen. That is where item maintenance and management will happen. And oh, by the way, NAV has been supporting retailers for 20 plus years. So let's go through a couple of case studies here, just kind of walk through some of the customers that we've worked with. We want to give you a little bit of a range of the different kinds of companies that we're working with and some of the things that we've done with them. So the first one we'll highlight here is a company called Video Games, Etc. We've been working with VGE for 5 years now. They've got 6 locations based in Iowa and sell video game accessories, games, the actual game units, and they're now getting into selling iPhones and iPads and other things that are in demand of their retail stores. They buy, sell, and trade video games, and it's a unique solution that we had to deploy for them, which allows them to do an actual trade of a game or trade of a game unit across the counter, and then in the same transaction be able to sell a new item or a used item to a customer. They have extremely high transaction volume. As a matter of fact, they have more than 3 million records in their database, all of which have been pushed from Microsoft Dynamics NAV out to the point of sale. We took them from electronic cash registers to a fully automated retail solution. We integrated their Microsoft Dynamics retail management system and NAV using our Maestro application, and again, automated their entire trade-in process. Another company that we work with and have for many, many years is a company called Stahman Farms and Country Stores. They're a 75-year-old company. They've got 2 retail locations. They use Microsoft Dynamics NAV for manufacturing, distribution, and fulfillment of their retail stores. They do about $35 million in annual revenue, and we actually converted them from Great Plains to Microsoft Dynamics NAV, integrating retail management system through using our Maestro application. And lastly, we have a customer who is probably one of our more interesting accounts, which is a company called Primor. Primor is a multi-store, multi-channel, multilingual, and multi-company specialty retailer of soft goods. They distribute bedding, curtains, other home goods to all of these different channels. They do about $25+ million in annual revenue a year. They have 15 retail locations from the east to west coast. And again, they are also a high transaction selling retailer. We converted them from Everest POS back to into Dynamics NAV using Maestro, and also put RMS, or Retail Management System, on the front end. And we've implemented a full customer loyalty solution for all of their selling channels. So they are truly able to connect the dots across all of their different selling avenues and get great reporting on who's buying what, when, how much, and how can we sell them more, recognize them, and reward them for their loyalty. So at this point, I'm going to jump over to our remote desktop server here, where we'll all be logging in to our demo environment, at which time I'll run through a quick demo of our application and then open it up for questions. So the first solution that I'm showing here is the Microsoft Dynamics NAV application. I won't take the time during this presentation, although I'm happy to set up separate reviews of our application at a later date if you need more information about the Microsoft Dynamics NAV product. But this is one of the clients that I mentioned is available to Microsoft Dynamics NAV users. This is called the Classic client. This looks more like Outlook, where the menu bar is on the left here, and as I click into things here, you'll see that forms open up on the right-hand side here. I won't go through again each of the menu items, but I just want to highlight some things here that show you the feature set of what Microsoft Dynamics NAV has to offer. There's full financial management, including the general ledger, bank reconciliation, accounts receivable, accounts payable, fixed assets, and inventory. They're all fully integrated, and they're all Microsoft Dynamics NAV functionality. Under sales and marketing, we actually have the ability to do some light CRM with contact management. We can do campaign management out of Microsoft Dynamics NAV, and we can also provide some analysis and reporting of your campaigns to see how you're doing. Did your campaign do well for you? Did it produce the results you were looking for? On the purchasing side, we have the ability to plan purchasing based on maybe production orders if you're a manufacturer who distributes, who also has retail, or just straight sales or purchase orders. We can do blanket orders. We can do transfer orders. There's lots of functionality within the purchasing module. Full integrated warehouse management, which means you don't have to go outside of NAV to find warehousing functionality. It has manufacturing, which again, you don't have to go outside of NAV to implement manufacturing. It has job costing, resource planning, service management, human resources and payroll, and then here we've added a menu button for our Maestro application. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Maestro. Maestro again facilitates the data flow between Microsoft Dynamics NAV and Microsoft Dynamics RMS. Again, we have the ability to manage multiple locations within the Microsoft Dynamics NAV application. Here I'll show you a list of the different locations that are set up within our demo environment, which include warehouses and stores. There is no limit to the number of locations that a Microsoft Dynamics NAV customer can set up. So again, that does not eliminate, that eliminates any issues or concerns about how many retail stores can I set up integrated to Microsoft Dynamics NAV. There's no limit. On each of the cards here, as we call it, there is a store tab that we can talk about. If this store location, or if this location was deemed a store location, we would simply check the box next to store location. If this was a web store location, we would simply check this box here and denote it as a web store location. There's different setup requirements on each of the location tabs that route things to the right place within the financials application, within the inventory locations. And again, it's as simple as making this a store location by checking this box here. Let's go through the customer card here. Again, we use the card metaphor within the Microsoft Dynamics NAV solution, and it's consistent. You've got a general tab always, you've got communication, you've got invoicing and other things that relate to this particular area of the application. You'll also find the store tab on each of the master records. Again, items, location, card, items, locations, customers, vendors, they'll all have a store tab to relate back to store information. For this particular customer card here, again, it's the same protocol. Checking a sync to POS tab or box here denotes it as a retail customer. And why this is important is because there's times where we have retail customers who have a wholesale group where the customers are not shared between those two departments. So it makes it easy for us to say, okay, this is a retail customer, sync it to POS. I'll have another set of customers within my database that are maybe wholesale customers or employees that I don't want synchronized out to the store. Again, we can run multiple departments, multiple business units, all within the same database. And again, we've separated things with this identifier and obviously things behind the scenes that happens that routes this information to the right selling channel. Here we've got retail price levels that associate with this particular customer. These are consistent with the Microsoft Retail Management price levels. So again, this information is shared and can synchronize nicely across the two applications. The item card is another master record that is managed from within the Microsoft Dynamics NAV solution. On the General tab here, you'll see an item number, a description, a unit of measure. If there was a shelf or bin location associated with this particular item, it would be noted here. And there's other category codes, group codes, posting groups and things that get set up related to this item. Let's focus on the Store tab though for a second, and again the same protocol, sync to POS. If this item needs to go out to the store, if this item needs to go out to your website, it's also as simple as clicking the sync to web store check mark. The price levels again are repeated here on this particular item, and then we can also denote whether this is a POS item that is standard, meaning one item number to one item type, or do we need to have to deal with variations in items. Within Microsoft Dynamics NAV, we call variations in items variants. On the Microsoft Dynamics RMS side, matrix items are considered items that have variation, size, style, color, length, width, weight. There's a number of things that retailers need to be able to designate differences in items, and we can accommodate those here as well. We deal with weighted items, we deal with non-inventory items, and we also deal with assembly items, which in NAV we call those kits. On RMS we call those assembly items. The cash receipts journal here is what looks like a big Excel spreadsheet, and it basically takes the end-of-day processes through the Maestro application, routes them to the cash receipts journal, so that at the end of the day or the next morning when the accounting folks come in, they can see how we performed from the cash receipts perspective. So when you run your Z report, that information will route over to the cash receipts journal and get broken down by payment method or tender type. So you'll be able to see how much did I do in cash, how much did I do in check, how much did I do in credit card, by what credit card, how much did I do, what were my receipts for the day. Once this is posted in the financial side of the application, you can then create the deposit to the bank and let the natural Dynamics NAV processes take over. This reduces manual entry between the point of sale and Microsoft Dynamics NAV. Order processing. Outstanding transactions. This is a table that we built that allows retailers to see what their transaction volume looks like for the day. So every time a transaction comes into Microsoft Dynamics NAV, it can route to the outstanding transaction table, which allows you to review it before you post it through to the general ledger. We also have the ability to auto post, which would bypass the outstanding transaction table and post directly to the general ledger. We've had requirements or requests for both. We have people that like to review it before it posts. We have people who don't care and want it to post automatically. They don't want to have to look at anything and post it as a manual process. So you have the choice and offer to your retailers both ways. So let's talk quickly about Microsoft Dynamics RMS. This is the point of sale aspect of the solution. It's the store operations POS component. We've deployed an add-on, which is our Touchpoints application, which again brings forth the customer loyalty information that might be available to a cashier based on the customer's interaction with our retail company. The add-on here, again, exposes this loyalty information, but also brings in some custom buttons on the right here, which is the area of the application that is deemed available for custom buttons if we need to add things for a particular retailer. So for example, this is again an add-on. We also have a multi-store lookup here, which allows you to look up information in other retail locations. This is reading right from within, reading right from the Microsoft Dynamics location table, which you can expose your warehouses, you can expose your retail stores. If you've got other locations that you want to make inventory availability information present for your cashiers, you can put that you can expose that information here. These are the function buttons on the bottom here, which help facilitate transactions. So I'm going to go ahead here and start doing a transaction, and I'm going to process a transaction for what we call a cash customer. I'm going to put here on the line an item. Let's go ahead and put in a red medium 30-inch saddle. Okay, this item has come in as a $51 item. I haven't denoted a customer here. I'm going to just process this transaction quickly. At each of the retail stores, we sometimes can't capture customer information, or maybe that's not our business model. So what we do on the back office to facilitate the ability to bring transactions in to unknown customers is we set up a cash customer for each retail location. That's done within the back office within Microsoft Dynamics NAV, so that each time a transaction comes in, the appropriate documentation in Microsoft Dynamics NAV can be created and allow for the natural flow of the transaction to get back to the general ledger and provide the real-time financial and inventory information. So again, I put this transaction or this line on the transaction. I'm going to go ahead and hit tender. It's going to ask me if I want to enter an email address for this customer. I'm going to go ahead and say skip and continue with sale. It's going to check for loyalty discounts, and it's going to apply a couple of 10% discounts here. Within the Microsoft RMS application, if you simply hit the Shift plus button, it will tender out for the exact amount owed on this transaction, which I'm going to do here. And that transaction is complete. Let's pop over to Microsoft Dynamics NAV and look at this transaction in the back office already. Here it is. It's the 28th of February. Here is our transaction to a cash customer, and it's for this item here. That's how quickly things will happen between Microsoft Dynamics RMS and Microsoft Dynamics NAV. Let's go ahead and do another transaction just again to show the quick processing speed between the transaction at RMS and Microsoft Dynamics NAV. I'm going to go ahead and set a customer here. I'm going to go ahead and put it into the Touchpoints customer account. I'm going to go ahead and add an item. I'm going to sell a very expensive bicycle. And I'm going to go ahead and process this for the exact amount. I'm going to go ahead and get out of the transaction screen and back in. And we already see that this account has been updated, the Touchpoints customer account. I'm going to go ahead and show the document, which actually highlights here the information. And it will allow us then to, let's go to this customer record. And if I go to customer ledger entries, this is the area where you can look and see the information that's related to this particular customer. Let's go back to order processing and look at the transaction again. Again, already updated in the Microsoft Dynamics NAV application. At this time, I'm going to open it up for questions. We've got some questions being typed into the panel poll here. The first question is, how does the integration get deployed? That's a great question. Let's go back to the PowerPoint presentation for 1 second here. And I'm going to scroll up to the slide that outlines the architecture. Here we go. So there's 3 pieces of software that get deployed when we roll out the Maestro application. One of the features or one of the components is what's called the Maestro Nav client, which sits on the Microsoft Dynamics NAV server. And that may be a server that's hosted within the walls of your customer, or that may be a server that's hosted at a data center. Again, the Microsoft Dynamics NAV Maestro client would sit on the Maestro, or sit on the nav side of the application, and we consider that like a listener. So the nav Maestro client acts as a listener for changes in the Microsoft Dynamics NAV application. So anytime there's an item update, a new item added, a description changed, anything that happens within the Microsoft Nav application that needs to get pushed to the store, Maestro is going to listen for that change and send it out. On the POS side, there's a Maestro POS client that gets deployed on each of the POS registers, each of the POS databases. And that's also a listener for changes. So, for example, if a customer comes in and they're new to your retail store and you want to add them to your database at the point of sale, do so, and the Maestro POS client will see that change and send it down to Microsoft Dynamics NAV. Same with transactions. Every time a transaction is processed, the Maestro POS client's going to say, oh, there's a new transaction that's come in, let me send that down to Microsoft Dynamics NAV. And it's routed through the Maestro server, which is another component that gets implemented, which is a component that's based on web services. So what happens is the 2 solutions, RMS and NAV, never talk. Everything is routed through the Maestro server. So hopefully that answers your question. Another question is, how is Maestro priced? Maestro is priced by lane. So if you've got 50 lanes in your 50 location, or multiple locations in 50 lanes, Maestro is priced by each of those lanes. If you host it, there's a pricing component for a hosted solution, and there's also a pricing component for on-premise. Do you need a nav client to run Maestro? The answer is no. There's no additional user requirements of Microsoft Dynamics NAV. If you price, the Microsoft Dynamics NAV pricing is based on simultaneous concurrent users, but again, there is no additional user requirements to run the Maestro application. Okay, I think that's it for questions. Again, thank you everybody for attending the presentation this morning. Let me throw our contact information up here. Please reach out to Nicole or I for additional information on our solution. If you need to do a more tailored demonstration or want more information, or we need to walk through this with you, if you're a partner that has a particular prospect or customer in mind, please reach out to us. We will turn a demonstration around very quickly and help you sell more to your customers and help customers on this call today get more out of their solution. Again, thank you for attending, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.